Scene script. Have you ever stopped to consider the ground beneath your feet, the soil that sustains life on our planet? This isn't just your average dirt we're talking about. It's the lifeblood of our planet, a precious resource that supports countless ecosystems and, by extension, all living creatures. It's the platform for our civilizations, the canvas for our cultures, and the pantry for our sustenance. It's the land. But this irreplaceable resource is under threat. Land degradation, a decline in the quality of land, is a pressing issue that's affecting vast regions worldwide. It's not just about the land becoming less fertile or productive. It's about the land's dwindling ability to support life, to provide us with the resources we need to thrive, and to sustain the diverse ecosystems that keep our planet healthy. Land degradation is a global issue, but its impact is local and personal. It's the farmer who can't grow crops on his once fertile fields. It's the community that loses its water source because the trees that protected it are gone. It's the city that faces frequent dust storms because the land around it is eroding. It's the child who goes hungry because the land can't produce enough food. This isn't just an environmental issue. It's an economic one, a social one, a human one. Land degradation can lead to reduced crop yields, threatening food security and livelihoods. It can exacerbate climate change and biodiversity loss. It can even fuel social instability and conflict as people fight over dwindling resources. But the good news is, we can do something about it. Understanding the key processes involved in land degradation is the first step towards developing effective strategies to prevent and reverse it. We can implement sustainable land management practices, restore soil health, and maintain healthy ecosystems. We can ensure the long-term productivity and sustainability of our precious land resources. But what exactly causes this degradation? Let's delve into the main processes. Imagine rain washing away a hillside, or wind sweeping across a desert, lifting fine particles into the air. This is erosion at work. Erosion, in the simplest of terms, is the wearing away of the land's surface. It's a process that has been shaping our planet for millions of years, carving out valleys, rivers, and coastlines. But when this natural process accelerates, it can be a silent thief, stealing away the productivity of the land. Let's talk about water erosion first. Picture a heavy rainfall on unprotected land. The rainwater, as it flows over the ground, can carry away the topsoil, along with all the organic matter and nutrients it contains. What's left is barren land, with reduced fertility and increased vulnerability to further erosion. Over time, this can lead to the decline in the land's ability to support life. Now, let's shift our focus to wind erosion. Imagine a gusty day in a dry, arid region where vegetation is sparse. The strong winds can pick up loose soil particles and transport them for miles. This process doesn't just lead to loss of productive land, but can also result in desertification, transforming fertile land into barren deserts. But here's the catch. While erosion is a natural process, human activities can significantly speed it up. Deforestation, overgrazing, and poor land management practices can leave the land exposed and vulnerable. By removing the protective layer of vegetation, we're essentially inviting the wind and rain to carry away the topsoil. So what's the big deal about losing a little topsoil? Well, topsoil is the lifeblood of our land. It's where the majority of biological activity occurs. It's rich in nutrients and organic matter, vital for plant growth. When topsoil erodes, the land's productivity declines, impacting agriculture and ecosystems. Erosion is a natural process, but human activities can significantly speed it up, leading to land degradation. So let's be mindful of our actions and their impacts on the land, because every speck of soil matters. Scene script. Have you ever tasted the saltiness of seawater? Now imagine that salt seeping into our lands, making them unproductive. This process is called soil salinization, and it's like a silent invasion that can turn fertile lands into barren deserts. But how does it happen? Well, it's a tale of two causes, nature and humans. On the one hand, nature has its way of sprinkling salt onto our lands. In arid regions where the sun is a relentless baker, high evaporation rates can leave behind salts, which then accumulate in the soil. The weathering of certain rock formations can also contribute to this natural salt buildup. But let's not point fingers only at nature. We humans have had a significant hand in this salty affair. The overuse of fertilizers and irrigation can raise salt levels in the soil. It's a tricky balance. While irrigation is necessary for crops, it can introduce salts into the soil. The water evaporates, but the salt stays behind. And with fertilizers, it's a double-edged sword. They're meant to boost crop yields, but overuse can lead to a buildup of salts in the soil. So why is this salt invasion a problem? Simply put, too much salt is harmful to most crops. It can reduce crop yields and even cause plant death. The salt affects the soil structure, making it harder for plants to take up water and nutrients. Over time, this can lead to a significant decline in the productivity of the land. In essence, soil salinization is a silent invader, creeping in and gradually turning fertile lands into unproductive patches. It's a key process in land degradation that we need to be aware of, as it directly impacts our food supply and the overall health of our ecosystems. When the salt in the soil rises, the productivity of the land falls. But by understanding the causes and effects of soil salinization, we can take steps to manage and even reverse this process, ensuring the long-term sustainability of our precious land resources. Think about the richness of a well-tended garden soil full of organic matter. Now imagine that richness disappearing. This isn't a scene from a horror movie, but a real-life occurrence happening across the globe. The unsung hero of our environment, organic matter, is vanishing from our soils at an alarming rate, and the consequences are dire. Organic matter is the lifeblood of soil. It's an intricate mix of decayed plant and animal material, microorganisms, and the compounds they produce. It's the secret ingredient that makes soil fertile, helping it retain moisture, resist erosion, and provide essential nutrients to plants. But intensive agricultural practices and deforestation are stripping our soils of this vital component, leading to a decline in soil health and productivity. Imagine a farmer tilling his field year after year, planting the same crop and using chemical fertilizers to boost yields. Over time, the soil's organic matter depletes, unable to keep up with the constant extraction of nutrients. The soil becomes less fertile, less able to retain water, and more prone to erosion. The result? Lower crop yields and a cycle of increasing chemical use in an attempt to compensate. Now picture a forest, a vibrant ecosystem teeming with life. Trees and other vegetation drop leaves, twigs, and other organic debris which decompose and enrich the soil. But when these forests are cleared, whether for agriculture or other human activities, the flow of organic matter to the soil is cut off. The soil's fertility declines, its structure deteriorates, and its ability to hold water reduces. So you see, organic matter is the unsung hero of our soils, silently working to keep them healthy and productive. But we're losing this hero, one handful of soil at a time. The loss of organic matter is a significant contributor to land degradation, a threat to our food security and our ability to fight climate change. Without organic matter, our soils lose their ability to support life. So, let's give this unsung hero the recognition it deserves by adopting sustainable farming practices and protecting our forests. Because the health of our soils, and ultimately our planet, depends on it. Scene script. Picture a lush green landscape transforming into a dry, barren desert. That is the power of desertification. Desertification, the final frontier of land degradation, is a destructive process that turns fertile lands into lifeless deserts. But how does this happen? Imagine a complex web of life where every organism, big or small, plays a crucial role. Now imagine the threads of this web slowly disintegrating one by one. This is essentially what happens during desertification. It begins with prolonged dry periods, which can be exacerbated by climate change. These dry spells make it difficult for vegetation to grow, leaving the soil exposed and vulnerable. Now let's add soil erosion to the mix. Wind and water erosion can sweep away the topsoil, the layer that is rich in nutrients and vital for plant growth. With the topsoil gone, the land's ability to support life takes a serious hit. But the plot thickens. There's another villain in this story, soil salinization. Remember the salts we talked about earlier? High evaporation rates during dry spells can lead to the accumulation of these salts on the soil's surface, making it even harder for plants to survive. All these factors work together, slowly but surely, transforming once fertile lands into barren deserts. This isn't just about losing productive farmland. Entire ecosystems can collapse, affecting everything from tiny insects to large mammals and, of course, humans too. But here's the thing. Desertification is not an inevitable fate. It's the result of a combination of natural phenomena and human activities. And that means we can do something about it. By understanding these processes, we can develop strategies to prevent and even reverse land degradation. Desertification is the extreme form of land degradation, turning fertile lands into lifeless deserts. But it doesn't have to be the end of the story. With the right knowledge and sustainable practices, we can rewrite the script and give our lands a fighting chance for a greener, healthier future. Imagine invisible toxins seeping into the ground, poisoning our land. This is the reality of pollution. It's a profound enemy, one that doesn't announce its presence with a roar but silently infiltrates, causing irreparable harm to our precious soil. Like a nefarious spy, pollution can sneak in through various channels. One of the most damaging sources is industrial waste. Picture factories belching out smoke and dumping waste into our environment without a second thought. These wastes often contain toxic chemicals and heavy metals, which can seep into the ground. Once there, they don't simply vanish. Instead, they linger, contaminating the soil and making it harmful for any form of life. But it's not just industry that's to blame. Farming practices can also contribute to this invisible enemy. Overuse of pesticides and fertilizers, in an attempt to boost crop yields, can lead to a different kind of pollution. These agrochemicals can leach into the soil, altering its composition and balance. They can also run off into water bodies, leading to a cascade of ecological problems like eutrophication, a process where water bodies become overly enriched with nutrients, leading to excessive growth of plants and algae, and the death of other aquatic life. The impacts of this invisible enemy on agriculture and biodiversity are far-reaching. Polluted land becomes unsuitable for growing crops, affecting our food security. Moreover, the biodiversity of the soil, which is crucial for nutrient cycling and pest control, can be severely affected. The loss of soil biodiversity can lead to a breakdown in these essential ecosystem services, further exacerbating the issue of land degradation. Pollution is indeed a silent but deadly form of degradation. It doesn't just harm the land today, it compromises its productive capacity for future generations. But the good news is, we have the power to fight this invisible enemy. By adopting sustainable practices, we can reduce pollution and ensure a healthier future for our land. Pollution can render our lands unsuitable for any productive use, a silent but deadly form of degradation. So how can we stop the degradation of our precious land resources? This is a question that echoes in the minds of many. The answer lies in implementing sustainable land management practices. These practices are designed to protect our soils, enhance its productivity, and maintain healthy ecosystems. One such practice is crop rotation. It's a method as old as agriculture itself, where different crops are planted in a regular sequence on the same land. This breaks pest cycles, reduces disease prevalence, and enhances soil fertility by balancing nutrient requirements of various crops. Next, let's talk about cover cropping. This involves growing specific plants primarily for the benefit of the soil rather than the crop yield. These plants shield the soil from erosion, improve its structure, and add valuable organic matter. They can also suppress weeds and manage soil-borne pests and diseases. Think of it like a protective blanket for the soil, keeping it healthy and fertile. Now, on to reduced tillage. Traditional tillage methods can disrupt the soil structure, speed up the decomposition of organic matter, and leave the soil vulnerable to erosion. By reducing tillage, we can maintain soil structure, enhance water retention, and increase organic matter content. It's like giving the soil a chance to breathe and thrive. But remember, these practices are not one-size-fits-all. They need to be tailored to the local climate, soil types, and specific farming systems. It's about finding the right balance and combination that works best for each unique situation. So, can we combat land degradation? Absolutely. With understanding, adaptation, and the right practices, we can protect and restore our soils. It's a challenging journey, but one that is vital for our survival and the health of our planet. By understanding and addressing land degradation, we can ensure the long-term productivity and sustainability of our lands. Let's make sure we pass on a healthy and fertile earth to future generations. They deserve nothing less. Land degradation is a global issue that requires our immediate attention. We've journeyed through the silent thief of soil erosion, the salt invasion that salinizes our soils, the unsung hero that is organic matter, and the final frontier of desertification. We've seen the invisible enemy of pollution and how it contaminates our precious land resources. Each of these processes plays a part in the decline of land quality and productivity, impacting not only our ability to grow food but also the health of our ecosystems. But it's not all doom and gloom. By implementing sustainable land management practices like crop rotation, cover cropping, and reduced tillage, we can help restore soil health and combat land degradation. It's a collective effort, and every small step counts. Remember, the health of our land is in our hands. Together we can make a difference.